Welcome back to the channel, my name's Shan. If you're a regular viewer, you'll know that in the last few months I've added another solar system and some battery storage to my existing 2015 solar array. One of the ways I wanted to utilise some of that excess solar was to heat up the water in my hot water tank. The only problem is that my existing hot water tank has no immersion. On this path of solar discovery and trying to explore a good long-term option for heating our hot water, I've come to realise that solar diverters are a complete waste of money for us. And in this video I'm going to explain exactly why I'm making such a bold statement. So a bit of background. We live in a 5-bedroom detached house in the northeast of England. We have 3 bath/shower rooms, 2 fitted with 8 to 9 kilowatt electric showers, and 1 supplied by our hot water tank. Adding an immersion to our existing hot water tank with a simple fuse spur switch would be the cheapest option to allow us to use some of that excess solar. However, there are a few issues with our current setup. The electric showers are hugely power hungry. Bring me sunshine! Not very efficient, and the pressure isn't great. Likewise, the gravity fed hot water tank shower has pretty poor pressure, and this poor pressure was made worse in the cold weather we recently had, where it dropped to -5, -6 outside. I suspect some parts of the cold water storage tank in the loft must have started to freeze, as it completely resolved when the temperature outside improved. Incidentally, our battery, which is also in the loft, was completely fine with its charging cycles. The existing tank also takes up a lot of space, which would otherwise be better used as storage. Like with most of mine and probably most people's home improvements, I wanted to make sure I'm putting in the best long-term option, especially as we're more than likely to be in this house for the next 20 years. After some research and considering the various options for our hot water tank, we decided to install an unvented hot water cylinder in our loft space. The tank we went for would allow the water to be heated by either gas or electric via 2 immersion heaters. And this option would solve all of the issues that we have with our current setup. Specifically, we could heat the water in the cylinder using gas or electric. As I said before, we're more than likely to be in this house for the next 20 years, and having both options will allow us to use the most cost-effective method going forward. It will also help us get mains water pressure, which will certainly improve the quality of our showers. I suspect in the future we'll replace one of the electric showers with one that is fed from the hot water tank. Running 2 hot water cylinder fed showers from an unvented cylinder will be significantly more successful than doing this with our current vented system, where the pressure is already suboptimal. And finally, we can utilise this space to store more stuff we will never use. So now I'd figured out what I wanted to do with regards to the tank, I also wanted to explore heating it with excess solar. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? If you have solar panels, you get a solar diverter and trickle any excess into the tank. Well, no, not as things stand, and this is for a few reasons. Firstly, if you have a battery, your solar system will prioritise charging your battery first after supplying the house. And it's only after that, if there's any excess energy, that this will then be diverted to heat your water via solar diverter. This means the solar diverter is third in line for that precious solar. Energy used to charge the battery can be used for a number of jobs, including heating water via immersion and other household consumption, whereas a solar diverter linked to your immersion is only good for one thing: heating your hot water. In my opinion, if you have solar and a battery, it's much better to be able to schedule immersion to come on around midday, when you're more than likely to be generating enough to heat a 3 kilowatt rated immersion. And even if you're not quite generating enough, the battery will be able to make up the difference. I've chosen to use these SONOFF Wi-Fi switches, which will be linked to both the top and bottom immersion independently of each other. These Wi-Fi switches will allow me to monitor my consumption data for up to 6 months, set power, current and voltage thresholds, support a maximum load of 20 amps, and most importantly, allow me to turn on the hot water with my voice. Alexa, turn on the top immersion. Okay, so I don't really need the last feature, but the ability to integrate things with Alexa, Home Assistant and IFTTT, or if this then that, will no doubt come in useful in the future. If you want to check out this SONOFF Wi-Fi switch, I've dropped a link to it in the video description box below. Secondly, with export rates currently being around 21p per kilowatt hour for me on Octopus Flux, and gas being around 10p per kilowatt hour, it would be cheaper for me to heat my hot water with gas, even allowing for the inefficiencies of using a gas boiler, which we'll come on to later. And the points I've made are even before we factor in the price of the popular Eddy solar diverter, for example, which will set you back around £500 to £700 installed. So in my opinion, installing a solar diverter currently makes no sense at all financially, if you have battery storage or you're being paid a decent export rate. If you have solar only and you're unable to get paid for the export, then it probably makes more sense. But what about the environmental benefits? Are we better off using the solar we generate to heat our hot water to reduce our carbon footprint? I suspect so, but let's do the numbers. Our boiler uses around 5 kilowatt hours of gas twice a day, so 10 kilowatt hours total, to heat enough hot water for us in the summer for showers and washing up, etc. Our Potterton Suprema 70L non-condensing boiler is around 20 years old, and typing in the details into this website, it suggests a 78.6% efficiency. Over the years, I imagine its efficiency has reduced, so let's say around 60% efficient, as a worst case scenario. So our 10 kilowatt hours of gas gives us 6 kilowatt hours of energy to heat our hot water. The current UK natural gas carbon factor is 0.183 kilograms of CO2 per kilowatt hour of natural gas consumed. So our 10 kilowatt hours of gas consumed would emit 1.83 kilograms of CO2 per day. Now let's compare that with using an immersion heater to heat our hot water with excess solar. Heating water with immersion is near 100% energy efficient. Therefore, diverting 6 kilowatt hours of solar to the immersion gives us 6 kilowatt hours of energy to heat our hot water. Whilst they do have a small carbon footprint during their production, solar panels don't produce any emissions while generating electricity. Therefore, from April till September, October time, when we'll be reliably able to use solar instead of gas to heat our hot water, we'll be reducing our emissions by around 275 to 330 kilograms of CO2. Interestingly, and just to put this into context, a Boeing 747-400 will emit 250 kilograms per passenger per hour of flying. So it looks like using solar will definitely reduce my carbon impact. But using solar instead of gas will cost us more in terms of lost export payments. As we said before, 10 kilowatt hours of gas through our 60% efficient boiler gives us 6 kilowatt hours of energy, but will cost us around £1 at 10p per kilowatt hour of gas. Using 6 kilowatt hours of our solar generation and not exporting it to the grid will mean we lose out on an export payment of around £1.30 at 21.97p per kilowatt hour of solar exported. And that would mean a loss of 30p per day, or £9 per month, or £54 between the months of April and October. So after looking at both the financial and environmental implications of heating my hot water with gas or solar, what am I going to do? I suspect I will heat the hot water needed for our morning shower via gas when solar is limited, and via solar around midday when solar is plentiful, ready for our kids' evening showers. These new tanks are super insulated, and supposedly only lose around 2 degrees of heat every 24 hours, compared to our heat losing old cylinder, as can be seen on these thermal images. I would love to be able to do both and reduce my carbon footprint and save money, but that just isn't how the world works. And the more I save, the more carbon reducing changes I can afford to do going forwards. And in the words of James Clear, the author of this great book I've been reading recently, tiny changes, remarkable results. If you found this video useful, then please like it and subscribe to the channel to keep up with new content we'll be uploading. Let me know in the comments section below if you've got a different opinion and feel a solar diverter is worth its weight in gold. If you've enjoyed this video and you've got solar and a battery and you're wondering which import and export tariff is best for you, then I think you'll find this video useful, and I'll catch you there. Thanks for watching, see you next time.